Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking NFL news here. Breaking NFL news here, ladies and gentlemen. Kick off the 2021-2022 NFL season, and the Denver Broncos have acquired three-time Pro Bowler and former Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Absolutely, after time and time after waiting it out, playing the waiting game, waiting to see which dominoes fall in the QB market for the Denver Broncos, who were number one in all of media conversations about going up there and getting a quarterback. Um, looking at their quarterback depth chart, and it's really nothing to write home about. Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, those aren't going to win you many games in the NFL. So the Broncos, knowing that and keeping everything mildly quiet around Denver about acquiring these going after quarterbacks like this, they were able to do so and bring in Deshaun Watson, who was finally got his wish and got out of the Houston Texans. And you know, with everything that went on this offseason for Deshaun Watson, it is great that he's finally able to get out of this situation unscathed and was found not guilty in those sexual assault allegation cases. And the NFL deemed that there was no wrongdoing by the party of Deshaun Watson, and they granted him full immunity from any type of NFL punishment, like some people speculated. And he is now free of the Houston Texans. As it has all been revealed that it was just a smear campaign to try to damage a young ascending superstar QB his name, because he no longer wanted to play for the Houston Texans franchise anymore. And rather than let him walk peacefully or amicably, they just decided to go low and do a low blow and try to hit him with some false allegations and things of that nature. So he's now free, and he is now at a destination that he desperately wanted to be in. And Jerry Jeudy, a couple of Broncos teammates, pounding the table for him to come to this team because they know his youth and his experience and just his superstar factor. I mean, you don't have to guess if Deshaun Watson's a superstar. You can go back and check all oodles and hundreds of tapes and hundreds of films uh, uh, in Houston to show you that he is every bit of elite. And the Broncos fans are kind of split. Know that it was a smear campaign, but some other people think that he's guilty. But only way to make doubters into believers is to go out there and put on the performance which he is likely willing and able to do. Absolutely willing and able to do, and also having the pieces around him now. His stint in Houston, he had the pieces early on in his career that he had in Houston, kind of comparable to what he's walking into in Denver. Outside of the offensive line, obviously, because Broncos compared to the Houston Texans that he's had his career, it's drastically better. The second guy who was the most outspoken of getting Deshaun Watson or even Aaron Rodgers in a Broncos uniform is Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy absolutely looking to make a second year wide receiver out of Alabama. Truly, truly a star on the rise. And also getting back Cortland Sutton. You know what I mean? Broncos had some significant injuries last season that really hindered them, but also no more that hindered them more. No, excuse me, sorry, I can't talk. Nothing hindered them more than their QB issues, But finally, feeling like they had that settled, Cortland Sutton back and ready for action. And now to round out the wide receivers is second-year speedster slot wide receiver KJ Hamler, and a guy that's definitely looking to make a huge breakout season this year, tight end Noah Fant. Absolutely, Noah Fant is probably one of the fastest tight ends in the game. He can take a short route and really get the most maximum yardage, especially for a tight end with his speed. And if he catches it in open break, good luck catching it. You're not going to. And now the starting running backs in this offseason, where the Broncos say goodbye to Philip Lindsay, and it's looking for Melvin Gordon to have a little bit of a better season than he had last season. And they're going to need that if this Deshaun Watson experiment is going to be successful. And the free agent, somebody that they brought in this offseason in free agency, former Minnesota Vikings, way down in the depth chart, running back, Mike Boone. We talk about that, and when we get to this is where things get better, and look up for Deshaun's, the Broncos offensive line, starting with Garrett Bowles, Pro Bowler Garrett Bowles, and first team All-Pro Garrett Bowles. Absolutely a phenomenal offensive tackle. And, last year was a staple of him just absolutely having a masterful campaign and absolutely doing exactly what he needed to do to secure the contract that he got this offseason. And Garrett Bowles is set to be here for a while as the Broncos starting right tackle, and he's proven his weight. On the other side is Brandon Glasgow, Lloyd Cushenberry, and second team All-Pro Dalton Risner. Dalton Risner has just elevated his game from year in, year out. The Colorado kid, grew up in Colorado, and although didn't go to college in Colorado, but he's a Colorado-born Colorado kid, and he's truly embraced what it is to play for his hometown team, and has truly been an exemplary left guard, and he's a guy that can go out there and run block, but also protect Deshaun Watson, and that's exactly what was dire for Deshaun Watson. Besides choosing which team he wanted to come for, was who had a decent offensive line that he could work with, and that could really protect him when needed. See, free agent Bobby Massey brought in from the Chicago Bears. A lot of former Chicago Bears, making their way to Denver, and with mild criticism, outward people in outward media, not in Broncos media, as Vic Fangio was trying to make this team the Denver Bears, but it's just all about scouting, who you're familiar with, who you worked with, who you worked with in the past, and who can benefit your system and scheme as we move on to the Denver Broncos defense. And we talk about this defense, and we talk about defense potentially being one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league this season. Starting with the defensive line with Metellin and Jean. The second year, Metellin and Jean really looking to, make the trajectory and get better than his last season. And Draymond Jones in his third year is looking to do the same. These two guys on the out ends are really talented, and they can really do some things. They can really, if everything goes well, between what's waiting for them on the inside linebacker with Shelby Harris, inside defensive tackle with Shelby Harris, a guy that they made a priority to bring back this offseason, and he's more motivated than ever now that the Broncos have put their full trust in him with the contract that they gave him. Number one defensive tackle in the National Football League when it comes to deflecting passes, and the pressure he brings to quarterbacks is also can't be understated as well. free agent Rival Joseph, a we're so used to coaches, bringing in players, that they've worked with in the past. But this one was a party of the new GM George Payton. George Payton brought in Louisville Joseph, or urged them to bring in Louisville Joseph because of what he's seen, what he did do when he was in Minnesota. Um, but the former Los Angeles Chargers defensive tackle just, you know, staying in the AFC West but just switching teams. Yeah, absolutely. And those two guys in the middle are really going to be the difference between the progression or regression of the Draymond Jones and the Intelligent Gene, because they command so much attention because just how dominant those guys are in the middle, that it allows a lot of one-on-ones for these guys at the end. So you're expecting for them to really make strides and try to help this Broncos team get more sacks and more importantly force more Herrick throws to let this dominant secondary go to work. When we talk about the inside linebacker here, uh, Alexander Johnson, and the Broncos went out there and drafted some inside linebacker help with Baron Browning. And, for the most part, Alexander Johnson will get the start again this season, his third season here for the Broncos. Obviously, Joseph Jewell is expected to get the start as well. They're going to roll with those guys until one of them proves that one of the other guys on the depth chart proves they can be better, and you'll see somebody else. But we get to the piece to resist onto the linebacker core, and we start with Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb, a Pro Bowler last year, came off an amazing 2020 campaign. In a COVID year, he really did not drop off. It was kind of a very unfortunate that Von Miller went down with an ACL injury in practice and missed the entire season. But this guy is just truly is the definition of getting better and honing at his craft every year. He gets better every single year since he's gotten into the league and broke Von Miller's rookie sack record. And it's been truly amazing, truly phenomenal to see Bradley Chubb work. And on the opposite end, we expect big things coming from number 58 as everybody gives a huge mile-high salute, and we welcome back Von Miller, coming off of a devastating injury like he did last season where he missed the entire 2020 season. Von Miller is set to come back and have a breakout season. And we're ready for it, you know what I mean? Because the league is a different, the NFL is a different league without Von Miller in it, and we're just so happy that he's back. He's healthy, he's motivated, and most importantly, he's hungry. And absolutely, as we continue to highlight these guys, we can't go without mentioning this secondary that the Broncos chose to make a priority this offseason by going out there and adding Kyle Fuller to the mix. Absolutely, Kyle Fuller, another product of Vic Fangio. What he did for Kyle Fuller in his time as a defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, truly tremendous, and arguably one of the top cornerbacks in the National Football League, and the Broncos got him, and they're ecstatic about his production and what he can do here for the Orange and Blue. Absolutely. And talk about Kareem Jackson. We talk about Kareem Jackson, him recruiting Deshaun Watson. The Broncos brought him back as a tool to do so, and they did. He did, and just adding heavy hitting savviness to this already talented secondary. Bryce Callahan, just a physical cornerback, and really had an amazing 2020 campaign. He had a very solid 2020 campaign. There were some things he needed to improve on, but with the help that they invested with bringing in Ronald Darby and Kyle Fuller, it should ease his load a little bit. And money man, Justin Simmons. a dude that was well deserved of the contract that he got, just like Shelby Harrison. These two guys were a top priority to bring back for the Broncos this offseason. And the best safety in the National Football League was graded as the top safety last season, had the most interceptions, add more to that legendary status. Absolutely. The Broncos defense is really setting up to be probably one of the best defenses in the National Football League. And we take a look at the special teams, and on paper, this Broncos team is absolutely poised to break their losing streak and break their 5-year playoff drought this season. It starts with, you know, buying in. It starts with chemistry that they build. So we'll kick off that chemistry next week as the full off season starts, and we'll get these guys dialed up for the regular season. You guys stay tuned. This is your 2021-2022 Denver Broncos roster.